Cuomo here. In 1 hour, the president addresses the nation on Iran. The White House suggests the president will tell you he has met or exceeded all goals in Iran. If that's true, good. Say it's over and get out. But of course, that is not expected to meet our ears tonight. Instead, we're to be told that Iran's new regime president is proof of regime change and ready to make a deal for a ceasefire. See it in caps? Did you read the letter from the so-called Iranian president? Just released it. It's written terribly, but that doesn't matter. What does matter is nothing Trump wrote there appears to be true. The letter is filled with lies about the regime, its past, and its potential, but it's clear this guy ain't good for us. The only rational conclusion is that somebody here is trying to play an April Fool's joke on us, and it is not funny. Where to start? Iran's new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, is neither new nor really a president as we would recognize the position. His letter says nothing about a ceasefire, nothing about the Strait reopening. He never even mentions Trump's name. It is sad that a lying zealot makes a point that many at home agree with. Jumping in with the military over there was a very questionable call if you care about America first. We all get the regime has to go, that it is toxic, but it is not going, apparently. Can the president make the case that what he sees as the cure hasn't made the disease worse? Is the regime not now more motivated to hurt us than ever? This seems to only be better for Trump's people who are betting on what happens next. You saw somebody just bet 800 grand, right, on us going in with boots on the ground. And you saw that people in his circle are raising money in the region, right? So how do Iranians get their country back? Or how does anything change for the better there or here long term? It's a mystery. We'll see if the president can make the case. The letter's claims aren't worth dignifying from this guy, but sufficeth to say that he says the regime is in place. Remember, Iranian leaders literally end each speech chanting death to America. So where is the president getting it that this guy means anything better for our people or his own? If he isn't completely making it up, he better be able to make the case tonight in a way he has not to this point. The way to take on a regime like this is through consensus and coalitions and soft power. That's how you prove everyone is against them, and you squeeze them, and you motivate their resistance until something happens. Instead, Trump made this all about him and Israel. And as I've said many times, I get why the Israeli people see fighting with Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas as a main priority. But America is not in the region. And the main priority was fighting our battles to fix America first. The debt, the division, the disparities between rich and everybody else, corporations that are killing us. And because we have different priorities, the war in Iran is working out better for Israel's leader than it is for America's. While Bibi and Trump are both divisive and controversial figures, when it comes to fighting in the region, to fighting Islamists, Bibi's numbers show support that is the reverse of the reality for Trump. Look, Bibi can't kill enough extreme Islamists as far as most of his people are concerned after October 7th. Our people felt the same way 25 years ago, but not today. Bibi was also able to pass a budget extending his viability. America's president is mired in a shutdown. Now, time to the speech tonight. On that front, word just came out that Republicans in the House and Senate have reached a deal to end it, but there's a word missing. The Democrats. There can be no deal if you don't have them on board. And that's what the House Minority Leader just made clear. There's no deal, he wrote, but it is past time to make one. And look, Democrats started this shutdown in a way that would never affect the agency they say matters most, ICE. There's also no question that ICE needs changes. They are embarrassing themselves. They're embarrassing law enforcement. They should act the way law enforcement is supposed to under the Constitution and best practices. But let's be clear. Republicans have kept this shutdown going. And that's been to their perceived advantage and our disadvantage. It's time for it to end. And that's something that we can do easily, unlike what's happening in Iran. Here's my hope. In the spirit of rebirth and renewal, as we come up on 60 days of this war soon, right? Congress can use that as a trigger of the War Powers Resolution and take back its power and remember why each and every one of them raised their right hand and swore an oath not to a president, not to a party. This use of force should end where it should have started, with Congress voting on the determination. They should vote, demand the president has done enough, and the sides can fight about what that means and where the win is, what goals have been met, end the shutdown, make shutdowns illegal, and take on the fight Americans thought was worth fighting. Fix America first. The regime in Iran is not as menacing here as the healthcare providers and tariffs and corporate regimes that have the majority held hostage and terrorized by the few. Maybe the speech tonight will convince Congress it has ducked its duty long enough and that it should put the people's interests before its own. Now, let's discuss what we think is going to happen tonight, what needs to happen tonight, and how our president can see this guy who just wrote the letter as more reasonable. Because judging from his letter, this is as bad as it's ever been. New boss, same as the old boss. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.